Hey guys, good evening once again. First of all, thank you very much for coming all the way to Culinary Lounge and to be part of Handi Talks. This is our 8th edition, and today we have, the format is simple. As Sushma said, there will be a dialogue within ecosystem. We are trying to establish a dialogue. So the format is simple. There will be a talk or a success story or a learning story and a panel discussion. Today we have, and a feature startup is what we have added upon. So today we are going to start with one success story and then followed by a panel discussion, and last there will be a small brief talk by a startup entrepreneur. So the first talk, this is something very interesting story where a mom and daughter story, an entrepreneurial journey, and this girl has really worked hard to reach this stage, and she started with the 25 farmers. Basically, I'm talking about a brand which is Terra Greens. And this girl started with nearly 25 farmers, the network, and now they are 4,000, right? 4,000 farmers network they have across India. They are in more than 1,200 stores, and they are into retail, they are into organic farming. So the journey is very inspiring, and this daughter has joined the mother's journey, who has started her own journey in 40 plus years. So let us know more about it, about Terra Greens and the brand and how the journey went, and what they are doing in the future. So hereby I welcome Likitha. Thank you, Likitha. Thank you for coming to Handi Talks.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
good
pleasure.
Evening, everyone.
So before starting your journey, we want to know more about where are you from and your family, so that it will be a good connect to start with. So kindly tell us about your family and where are you.
My family is not a business family. We don't come from a business family. My father is a bureaucrat, and we grew up in Assam because he's an Assam cadre officer. So we stayed in Assam for almost 15 years. I passed out 10th from Assam as well. We traveled a lot. I think this is where the passion for farming for my mom came about as well, because she was really scared that my sister and I would grow up to be Assamese kids. So she wanted us to be really Telugu. She wanted us to eat all the Telugu food. So she would take the seeds from here and start growing there with like a small kitchen garden.
Okay.
And that's where her passion for agriculture kind of sparked.
Okay.
And that's what she brought back with her to Hyderabad when we moved here.
So from Assam you moved to Hyderabad.
Yeah.
So we got to know even your mom used to teach Telugu with Pedabala Siksha to make sure the roots are always...
I think she was very dedicated that both my sister and I grew up as Telugu kids. And so she would make the effort to make Telugu food at home, like gongura, pappu and things like that. And even teach us how to read and write Telugu, because we didn't have that in school.
Okay.
So that's how I know how to read and write Telugu and also to speak. Yeah.
Great. So your mom has started this brand. I mean, I'll go a few years back. So your mom's entrepreneurial journey has started in Assam itself before even moving to Hyderabad?
No, she wasn't an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Farming has always been her passion and her hobby.
Okay.
So always, I don't remember my childhood without a kitchen garden.
Okay.
So whichever house we moved to, and we moved a lot because of the nature of my dad's job, we used to have a kitchen garden. Mm-hmm. And when we moved to Hyderabad, she started farming in large scale in our farmlands here. It's a piece of land of 2 acres. And then this passion grew larger, and then she started farming in 28 acres. Okay. Now we do farming in 45 acres.
Okay.
So what started off as a kitchen garden, she scaled it to a large-scale organic farm, which is very different. And she was one of the first to actually use technology like drip irrigation or use other inputs such as Bijamrutam or Jivamrutam and make these concoctions, use them in large scale. So yeah, I think she took her passion to the next level at every
Okay.
step.
So in 2001, you moved to Hyderabad. When did this moment happen to Hyderabad?
So we moved briefly in for 3 years
Okay.
in from 99 to 2001.
Okay.
And finally like we moved to Hyderabad in 2006.
Okay.
And that's when I went to college, and I
Okay.
came back from college in 2011.
Okay.
And 2012 is when I joined my mom in the farm. And
Okay.
2013 is when Terra Greens came about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So what was the brand? I mean, after even moving to Hyderabad, I believe there was a brand established by your mom itself before Terra Greens. What was the brand?
So basically, she was, like I said, doing farming, and we used to get a lot of produce at
Okay.
home. We used to get carrots and brinjals and chilies and
Lot of
mangoes.
festivals, food festivals.
Yes, lots. And she used to make us eat all of them.
Okay.
So being vexed by that, we started selling.
Okay.
And we were never, like my mom was never, it was never a business really.
Okay.
It was more like she didn't want to waste all the vegetables. So that year in 2012, we got a bounty crop of mangoes.
Okay.
And they were everywhere. So that's when like one day we were shopping at Nature's Basket on road number 10 in Banjara Hills, and I just went up to the store manager and said, do you want organic mangoes?
Okay.
There we have tons at home. Then he was very excited, because back then there was no one really saying organic, or there weren't many people growing or practicing organic farming. So he was very excited, and he said, okay, like bring them in. So we went back home, we bought like packaging material, and we got our stickers printed, and we stuck them, like my maid, my watchman, me and my mum together. And then we drove down, and we were supplying, and that actually gave us a lot of good name, where people started asking for Terra Greens mangoes, they started asking for Terra Greens vegetables. And Nature's Basket was the first one to give us a break. And we would deliver every day, and take back all the things that weren't sold, because back then we didn't know how to negotiate. But yeah, and that kind of put the platform for us to think that we need to do this on a larger scale, and we need to put in the right systems and work with the right people to get it together so that we can launch a brand.
Good. Before moving further, we would like to know about why Terra Greens. What is that name?
Terra means soil
Okay.
in French, and greens is obviously greens. So it's basically greens that come from the soil.
Okay.
So since we've always stuck to the motto of sustainability and being true to our roots, that's where the name comes about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you and your mom, maybe know your mom's name,
Padmaja.
Padmaja.
Yeah.
So you and Miss Padmaja Padmaja Garu has started this journey, right? I mean, at the time still you were not full time onto this, I believe. Still,
No.
when was the year you came?
2013.
13.
End of 2012 and 13
Okay.
is when I joined Terra Greens
Okay.
full time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when the catapult from the vegetable stage to the brand stage happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This journey is not so easy, even for, I mean, many entrepreneurs are here and budding entrepreneurs are here. It is not so easy to start something. And when mom and daughter want to start something, and already this is something where you have started with a small journey with a Nature's Basket, and now you grew really large. So, how did this transformation happen? After Nature's Basket, what happened? Okay, you sold mangoes to them, they liked, a lot of people want to know about Terra Greens. After that, what happened?
I think we came about, we were always doing it. Mom was always doing it. It was only for friends and family. We never thought of sharing what we are doing with more people. So when we started selling, we realized that there's a huge need and there's a demand for such good quality produce. And then we were like, we need to make this bigger, and we need to work towards making good quality food more accessible to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
But right now we are in 2019. Still, we are saying organic is new to the market, right? I mean, still, I know it is like a startup. Few years back, organic market started. Still, it is new to many people. Even Titus, it is pretty new. But at the time, 2013-12, we are talking about. So, what were the challenges? I definitely see that price would have been a challenge, and people might have not known what is organic and the difference between how. Tell us something more about
I
how
think
did you come.
the biggest challenge that we faced and we still face today is getting good quality and consistent supply.
Okay.
Because there aren't many farmers out there who are practicing organic farming. It takes a lot to convince them, because the market size, as you rightly pointed out, is still not that large, and there are still people who are converting to organic. It is still very up in the air as to how large or how small the market is. It's considered a very niche and luxury segment. So to convince the producer to actually start believing and growing and put in more work, because doing organic agriculture is actually more difficult. So to do that was a challenge, and definitely the biggest incentive to them is a market premium.
Okay.
So when we pay more than the presiding market rate, they get encouraged to do organic farming, and that basically reflects on your MRP. So that's
so that is how you make or keep these farmers motivated and keep happy. Because Starbucks pay their coffee makers really good to actually give them the best produce of the coffee. They pay above the market price. So that is how your brand, or that is how organic further grows. It has to be a premium thing.
I hope not forever, because with the increase in scale, obviously the prices will go down.
Okay.
And it should, I think, become the norm. You know, when we say organic, the opposite is what we call like the produce as conventional produce. So I think it should be switched, and that's where the real value would come about. And again, I know that a lot of people think that organic has to be small scale, but that's not the case anymore because of technology. Technology has evolved so much over the last few years, and organic agriculture doesn't mean that you don't use technology. You just don't use chemicals and fertilizers and all the artificial things, but you are very welcome to use all the other good technology to make your crop healthier and give a better yield.
Okay. So coming to price point, you guys started very small. What was the price of the mangoes you sold nearby? Andaz, you remember?
We sold it at 100% premium back then.
And you guys say that you guys don't know how to negotiate at the time.
Because we were a small farmer, and I think when you're a small farmer, you have a lot of overheads.
Okay.
Again, scale is what matters.
Now what is the price?
We don't do mangoes anymore. We do it in a very small scale. It's always been my mom's 2-acre farm that has been supplying mangoes to Terra Greens. So they're always at 100% premium.
Okay. Terra Greens was, many of us might know, few of them might know, but many of them know that these guys are very initial movers for subscription model. So you guys are very initial movers, right, of the subscription model, I think in the year of 2013.
Yes, 2012, yeah.
So it is a very interesting model. Now it is, thanks to Amazon, Flipkart, the model is super successful. At the time, what were the challenges, and share your experience when you guys came up with this idea?
I think when we started Terra Greens, we never thought of being a retail brand. We wanted it to be a small subscription service wherein we were giving everything, all organic produce for like 2,999. So we're giving about 28 products, like all the spices and rice and atta and everything. But it was a major flop, I would say, because of the customization. People wanted to customize the orders, and they were saying that we don't want this or we don't want that. It was a viable business model because of the the basket.
Okay.
And once they started taking the basket out, then it kind of collapsed. And that's how we started.
Okay.
I think going into the retail segment was also a very natural progression.
Okay.
For
so
us.
From subscription, that is how you
Yeah.
guys pushed into. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we started really small. We were like a Hyderabad startup in
Okay.
2012 when nobody knew that word.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you are into retail in a majorly
yes.
and home delivery too. You guys
Yes.
still do home deliveries?
So last year we started this concept store called
Okay.
Green Station,
Okay.
wherein we modified a truck into a mobile grocery unit
Okay.
with a focus on perishables, which is fruits and vegetables from
Okay.
my farm again.
Okay.
And we are parking it around the city, and this is our retail. So
Okay.
it's a multi-brand retail platform. Our concept of starting this was to encourage all sustainable businesses. It was
Okay.
not only for Terra Greens or only for our farm vegetables. We actually work with a lot of Hyderabad startups in the food space, in the sustainability food space, wherein we give them a break to actually list and sell on our truck. I think we have close to 6 to 7 companies whose first retail experience was with us.
with the Green Station.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I actually do go to like flea markets and take their business cards and push them to
Okay.
sell on the platform. So we're powered by an e-commerce website as
Okay.
well on the
Okay.
back end.
Okay.
So
What
both
is that?
sides we can.
Greenstation.com?
Yeah, greenstation.co.
.co.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The entire model is, of course, convenience, because we are a truck model. We actually go to people. And second is sustainability. Everything that you get on Green Station is a sustainable product,
Okay.
whether it's food or non-food.
Okay.
We have really interesting stuff as well, like dish washing liquid by Soap Nut and
Okay.
things like
Oh,
that,
okay.
like really innovative stuff,
Okay.
which need platforms to sell from. So, and that's where we thought it'd be, it's a one of its kind aggregated, like a retail unit.
Good. From subscription model to retail, home delivery, and then now again to Green Station. How many Green Stations are now deployed?
We have 2
Okay.
Green Stations where we park in 28 locations around the city.
Okay.
But this year we'll be scaling to 15.
Oh, congratulations. So how on a weekly basis we will come to know where the Green Station is
Yes.
parked in the gated communities and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So other thing is you in last 5 years or 4 years you consistently try to build the brand very strong of Terra Greens, as well as you guys have expanded farmers network. Both are real challenges for many of startups. Building brand is everybody see entrepreneurs are very good at either building product, or few people are really strong in marketing. So building brand is not so easy. At the same time, you parallelly expanded to a real good farmers network.
Yeah, I think the organic food industry is very different.
Okay.
You have to treat it very differently, because we need to have control on our supply. If you don't have control on the supply, you don't know where your produce is coming from.
Okay.
And the basic premise that you're selling is that your produce is genuinely 100% organic.
Okay.
And if you don't know where the produce is coming from, then how can I tell you with confidence that I know what that is?
Okay.
So we actually we sell certified produce, which means that with the barcode, the batch number on the packet, if you come to me, I should be able to tell you the latitude and longitude of the farm and farmer.
So the traceability is already been there.
The 100% traceability is something that we have to promise, and I cannot promise that if I am not, putting my hands into production and processing and packaging, and I keep outsourcing things. So organic food business is a little intensive in terms of making sure things are right, if you want to make sure things are right. And that's always been one of our and mom's thing, that if we do this, we do it right.
Very happy to hear this because I think Maru and Rahul also might be happy because we did a food transparency panel discussion in few 2 editions back. So here we are hearing a story where they are already are into food transparency and they are supporting the traceability, and more such what to say organizations should actually come forward to build this traceability into a next level. So very nice to hear that Terra is having a food transparency and traceability already applied. Thank you. So about the farmers market, how did you approach? Because I know we can understand you started small in Hyderabad with 45 acres right now, but 28 acres or 25 acres then. But now we have 4,000. You are working with 4,000 farmers, so it is really a huge number. So how did you make this network build? How did you build this network? Slightly elaborate that part because that is one other interesting inputs people might be.
So I think when we started. So basically, my mom and I are partners.
Okay.
My mom takes care of her passion, which is the back end.
Okay.
Just farming, farmers, farmer operation, field operations, certifications, and procurement.
Okay.
I take care of the front end of the company, which is the marketing, brand, and the other things.
Okay.
So with her expertise of organic farming, and she's been doing it for so long, we would conduct farmer camps.
Okay.
In the beginning, we would actually go there and speak to farmer groups, farmer producer organizations, and a lot of NGOs who were working on the farm level. And I think our biggest strength was and is our team.
Okay.
We were very fortunate to get like a good, experienced team on board.
Okay.
So very passionate, and so the entire thing came together, and we hope to expand even more and get more and more farmers to join the sustainability movement. And I think we just scratched the surface. We need to really go and make a bigger impact in the farmer community, because that's very essential. But reaching the farmers, of course, these are the channels that we used. And I think farmers also, they have their own networks, and they're a very influential group of people. So reaching the right influencer really makes a difference.
The local influencer.
Yes. Yeah. And we did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slightly extended question. Still, India is suffering a lot with. There are tons of issues where farmers are facing, and one side I hear companies like Terra are paying slightly above the market premium price to encourage them to be organic. But regular farming itself is a challenge for many of the farmers. One quick insight, because you worked with multiple farmers, so I'm really curious.
I think the challenges are definitely there, whether it is conventional farming or organic farming. But again, I go back to the concept of sustainability. There are studies that show that when you compare two pieces of land and you use pesticide on one and one you do organic farming. So maybe the first year you'll get like, let's say 100 kgs from the one that you are fertilizing and 70 from the organic cultivation. And over the years, it's shown that the land wherein you're constantly using chemicals and fertilizers and pesticide slowly loses its own ability to rejuvenate. And it becomes barren. So the yield will go up and then slowly go down. Whereas an organically cultivated piece of land might give you maybe 20% less in the first go, but it's a more sustainable form of farming. And this is what we tell our farmers. In a conventional piece of land, you're required to buy fertilizers, buy pesticides, buy weedicides. But in organic cultivation or organic agriculture, you don't need to put inputs which are expensive. What we use is neem cake, neem oil. We use cow products. We use concoctions of leaves. We use fermented milk. These are the things that are available. So over a period of time, probably organic agriculture is more sustainable and also more cost effective.
Okay.
And you get a better price for it in the market. So, well, it's a win-win.
Okay.
But yeah, challenges are there because again, agriculture is, it's dependent on the weather and the climate. There are changes. Then you have pest attacks. Then you have the problem of small farm, small land holdings. All these are there, but I think using technology has really helped. There's so many new technologies that have come in the agri-tech space, which are very, very helpful in ensuring that these problems are met with good solutions.
So Terra Greens invests into our into means. I mean, my question is.
We use them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are good consumers of agri-tech.
Yes. I think it's very important in this day and age. You cannot live under a rock.
Okay.
You need to employ technology to be more efficient.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is about you guys have these kits coming, avocado kit, Ugadi kit, all these things. Tell us something about your avocado kit and Ugadi kit.
So basically, this comes from me being the lazy person that I am. I think most of us, the millennials, we want to do things, but we usually run out of time, or we don't know how to do it, or we're just looking for convenience. And that's basically the concept of the do-it-yourself kits that we come up with. The one that you're talking about, Ugadi kit. So I realized when I was making Ugadi Pachadi that I would buy half kg of everything, and everything would go waste because we're supposed to use new things.
Okay.
And so we came up with this concept wherein we packed everything in 100-gram pouches and like one mango and one coconut, and then we could like make it, and that was just enough. So then we said, okay, this seems like a good concept, and we started the Ugadi kit. And we realized like a lot of people don't know where to get the neem flour. So we do the whole neem flour and like pack it nicely in like a small packet so that you can just use a little bit and it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, and avocado kit, it's interesting how avocado kit came about because when we were growing up, like I said, we were in Assam, and every summer we would come to Hyderabad, and we'd have like 6 to 7 avocados on the table from each household, because making avocado is such a tradition for us as Telugu people, and we have to, like, it's something our grandmothers did, it's something our great grandmothers did, but it's something we don't do. So we buy bottles if we want to eat, or we just go to like a swagruha or something and pick it up. So what we thought was to actually bring back tradition. Avocado is just not the pickle. Mm-hmm. It's very deeply rooted in gift giving.
Emotion.
It's like my avocado or your avocado, right? Like my avocado has this extra zing and yours has this and this extra ingredient, and my Amama's avocado and my Nanama's avocado, and that kind of emotion is what we wanted to bring about. So we made this kit where we did like an organic spice mix and the sesame oil and the mangoes, and we weighed it out correctly so that again millennials don't get confused. And then we give you like a ceramic jari, and then you can put everything, and we give you instructions on how. And we also give you like small tips, like you can put garlic, or you can put this extra or that extra for your own little spin on your avocado. And it was such a hit for us. Even in my house, for the last 3 years, I make avocado.
Okay.
So, and I force people to eat my avocado all the time. So, and I think it's a very nice thing to do with your family, your children, and that's where all these like small things do come about.
This is a beauty. I mean, food is an emotion, and when you do it with your family or friends, those memories are always really long lasting. So yes, we also have, I think every one of us, many of us will have a lot of stories around our guys.
Around our kind.
Yeah, our grandmothers, Nanammas,
Yes.
Amammas, this is all our memories are with them.
Yeah.
So while talking about food, one quick question: what is food for you? What is food for Likitha?
I think that's a very deep question. But food for me is something that brings back things, right? If like all the things that we do, when you look back at a memory, you always think of the food that goes with it. Like if you think of a festival, there's food with it. So I think food for me is very personal, but at the same time, it's very emotional. In terms of bringing back things, bringing back memories of people, of moments, and also of experiences. I think everywhere, if you go on vacation, you think about that particular restaurant you eat at, or if you are going somewhere, or you're going to a friend's house, you know what exactly to ask for, or your Amama's house will have that thing that you want when you go for a special visit. So I think food is all about that, and it's just not like filling your tummy and eat that. So
Yeah, very true. We also believe that food is a universal social lubricant, is what we always call it. It bonds people. It actually holds a lot of emotions to it, and it is beautiful to get bonded over. That is what even a small attempt by Culinary Lounge to bring people over cooking or bring people over dinners. So it is beautiful. So again, coming back to a business thing, after subscription, you guys were again the very initial movers for ready to eat foods.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about how did it start and how it's going now.
Again, it comes from changing needs of people. Like now, when you look at the kind of food that people eat, is very different from the kind of food I grew up on, right? And it's always going to be the case where people are going to be looking at new food, better food, more convenient food to eat. So this is our little attempt to bring good food into a more convenient lifestyle. So it's a lifestyle change, and I truly believe that you can push anything, but if it is not going to be tasty, or if it's not going to bring comfort to you, then it's not going to catch on. So that's where we came up with our upma mixes and khichdi mixes back in 2014. I know now it's quite common, but back then we used millets to make upmas and khichdis and other mixes, so that we don't take away the comfort food aspect. If I want to eat upma, I want to eat upma. If I want to eat perganam, I want to eat perganam. But I also need to eat other good things with it. So that's where the concept came about.
Okay. Yeah. So how it's doing now? What is
we have a range of products that we do. We also work with other alternative grains, like we've come up with jowar noodles and soya noodles, and we use a lot of alternative grains to come up with new product lines. So I think there's a lot of potential. We'll keep a lookout, because we probably are going to be doing some really crazy innovative stuff in the coming future.
Tell us more about the values and principles and the work culture at Terra Greens. Now, by the way, I mean, you should also let us know how big your team is.
We are right now at 75 on payroll, and we employ close to 60 to 70 daily wage workers. So, and our daily wage workers are predominantly women. And since we are situated in an organic farm, we're not in an industrial area, so we provide employment to all the small villages around our farm. Yeah.
So it is 75 people.
75, on roll, and then the daily workers.
So in this business, because you are talking about organic, and you also talking about it is not a market where things are easy, like everyone can say we are organic. So I think first value which comes to you is honesty, right? So So, what are the values you believe before your building team? What is the something which you tell to? You have to talk to many people, right? Farmers or your employees or your aggregators, or you work with many. Even so, what are the values you inculcate into them to make sure that they are all on the same lines?
I think the value that we treasure the most, of course, is honesty in everything that we do. And it's very important for us in our organization to have a good intention.
Okay.
Because I've said this many times that if you have an intention, a good one, you will work towards making things happen. Whether you might not know things, I didn't know anything about dals when I started out, but it was with an intention to learn and to intention to make a difference. So all of us in Terra Greens, we always say that you don't need to know everything, but you need to have an intention and you need to be honest. And the intention should be a good intention.
Okay.
So I think that pretty much sums up our culture, is always to grow, to learn with a good, clear, honest motive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is the future of Terra Greens and Green Station?
I think we're very young, and we have so much more to do. We have so much more to grow and learn and obviously make an impact. And this is for Terra Greens. We would partner with more farmers. We really want to increase our farmer base and make sure that the organic way of life becomes the conventional way of life. And then on the market end, obviously invest in distribution, get more people to convert to eating organic food, be more available, have a larger product line. And with Green Station, I think the mandate is pretty clear, is that we want the consumers to know where you get good quality produce. Also encourage fruits and vegetable farmers to go organic, and to encourage local businesses, especially in the sustainable field, because that's the way to go, because you cannot be doing what you've been doing for so long.
Yeah. Great. One final thing, what would you like to let the budding entrepreneurs know? You are an entrepreneur, you started at 22 years or 21 years. So what would you like to tell to people who want to start their own, or who want to start their own startup?
I think few things. I still consider myself to be learning. So one thing is to start, like stop thinking, start doing. And the second thing is to ask questions, to have that intention to learn all the time, ask questions, collaborate, and have a plan. I think these are the things that I would say personally, because that's probably what I've learned in my journey, and keep learning, because there's so much out there that you can do, and there's only one person stopping you from doing it, and that's yourself. So don't let that happen. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.